Now we all have a better understanding about Nongsa D-Town development in general and how Nongsa D-Town fits into both government's vision and priorities, focusing on the digital economy to drive growth. We are also able to understand the closer bilateral ties between Singapore and Indonesia. Before we dive deeper into how Nongsa D-Town is shaping up to be a tech ecosystem where tech talents and companies can collaborate, innovate, and grow, let's watch the next video showing the master plan by award-winning Surbana Jurong.
Thank you very much, Christine. I would like to welcome our guests here with me right now. We have Mr. Marco Bardelli, member of the board and senior director at Nongsa Digital Park. Mr. Irawan Harahap, chief of digital tech ecosystem and development at Sinarmas Land. Mr. Irawan will be actually joining us from Jakarta online. And of course, we have Mr. Andrew Wee, director of design at Surbana, Jurong. So let's start with the first question to Andrew. Could you describe the design philosophy of Nongsa D-Town? Let us know, how do we intend to integrate the three pillars of digital, physical, and ecological in the master plan?
Well, first of all, let me say that on behalf of SJ, it's really an honor for us to be able to participate in this project. Now, the design ethos is really trying to weave the ecological system into every fabric of the architecture. Of course, layer it with the digital infrastructure. I think the combination of these three will be able to make this project a very unique, one of its kind, because of its unique setting and also the design content. If you look at the design from area perspective, you will see that the project stretch from east to west. There are actually 4 plots. You have, from my left will be D-Town village. Across the river is the D-Town campus. And then you have a D-Town plaza. And on my right will be the D-Town link. So let me start with one by one. So on the D-Town village, basically you have a hotel anchor the end of the plot, rising above the horizon. The advantage of it is to be able to capture the expansive sea view, to be able to appreciate the beauty of Singapore's coastline.
Yeah.
Trailing behind it is a series of these shop houses with flexible offices above it.
Yeah.
And behind it, you will have a cluster of what we call a incubator pods that really stretch out gradually and organically into the nature, which is the mangrove and the waterscape. Yeah. And then right across the river, you will have the D-Town campus.
Yep.
And we call it a fusion hub also. As you can see, there is so-called planned along the river estuary. So the purpose is to be able to capture the river view with the building fan out to grid the landscape. But also you can see that the steps, terraces sort of invite the landscape to the building also.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also between the building, we actually have what we call the podium. Consists of meeting rooms and event plaza. It doesn't just connect the building, but actually it connects the people, which is very important. As a fusion hub, we want the event space to be a place where you can have interactions, chance encounter, meeting, explorations, the innovative idea and knowledge sharing.
Yeah. And of course, the ecological surrounding plays well into the integration as well.
Yes, this is a very important part of the whole design. In fact, the whole design is really to integrate the ecology into the building.
Which is very important nowadays, especially when people, especially entrepreneurs, right, they are very stressed, and I think the environment provides at least give them a very soothing end of the day, so that they can at least have some relaxation time.
In fact, this is what makes this project so unique. It is really the harmony of nature and the man-made.
Okay.
If I can move along, I will just sort of go to the next one. Will be the D-Town Plaza. It is interesting because it's just situated right behind the ferry terminal. So it's become a very important and essential space for us to orientate the people and to create the kind of organic movement.
Okay.
Actually, it consists of just a cluster of a very vibrant commercial spaces, activity. I think what we want is to be able to allow the space to exude the kind of warmth, the charm, infused with the local flavor and things like that. Of course, the last but not least will be the one that is really connecting to Nongsa Digital Park, which is what we call the D-Town Link. But we also call it amenity hive. Why? Because it is a collections of various kind of activities to be able to connect and to sort of create dialogue with each other. So inside there, we actually have
that's a place where community gathers and has exchanges, and that's very important elements.
That's the place really a core for connectivity.
Correct.
And you really can put everything into it. You have a F&B, you have commercial spaces, you can have co-living, and co-working and co-learning. Everything comes together.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next question. I think in the first panel, Mike Whelan and Dr. Bay talk about D-Town, right, being a new development. It has advantage of being a clean slate to be future-proof in that sense. Can you share with our audience today about this topic?
Being a clean slate, basically, is that the nature itself, the surrounding itself, is in a sense more like a virgin land. You really can go in and start something anew. You can really sort of bring in the modern lifestyle and the urban vitality, but you can create a kind of dialogue with the surrounding and the nature.
Okay. I think the hardware side of things, Andrew, you have addressed it very well. I think the ecology part, I'm really looking forward, because I've been there and I've noticed the coastline is beautiful. I actually stayed in I took a couple of days off after the event. I actually stayed there and really enjoyed that trip. But nonetheless, the software part of Digital Town is important. So let me pose the next question to Marco, right? Like, can you tell us what's this tech ecosystem that D-Town has to foster, especially in the terms of talent pipeline development, and how it can be that regional tech hub and fulfilling certain gaps in this entire growing startup ecosystem in Southeast Asia?
Thank you, Thaddeus. I would like to refer to what Minister Chanchu Singh said almost 1 hour ago at the beginning of this webinar. in relation to Nongsa Digital Park and D-Town, which clearly shows that moving forward, the success of D-Town will be intimately linked to the success of Nongsa Digital Park. So let's look first at Nongsa Digital Park and then what kind of community we're going to create there that then will benefit of the overall beautifully designed master plan infrastructure that will be laid down under D-Town. So Nongsa Digital Park leveraged at the beginning on the experience as Infinite Studios. I'm also a board member of Infinite Studios, part of Sinarmas Group, that started more than a decade ago, activity linked to the overall digital economy, specifically digital animation, where we tested on the ground the capability of Nongsa to be a place where we can attract talent, we can train talent, and we can retain talent, right? So first aspect, talent is very important. Second one, infrastructure. We're blessed with an amazing amount of broadband connectivity, which is probably unique as a single point within Indonesia, with 7 landing stations just down the beach from where we are that have around 13 submarine fiber optic cables. So infrastructure specifically to the digital economy. And then, of course, the geographical location, proximity to Singapore helped a lot. We saw in the event that we did together with you before the launch of NDP. And then, of course, and I'm very grateful personally for that, the support that we had from the 2 governments on both sides of the straits, Indonesian and Singaporean government. Then when we started, we wanted to have a community that was based on principles of collaboration, cross-pollination of ideas, and we wanted to make available a overall constant supply of tools, education, that would help, specifically vocational education, that would help the Indonesian talent coming to Nongsa Digital Park to upgrade their skills. So again, as Infinite Studios, we set up Infinite Learning that has an activity of vocational education properly licensed in Nongsa Digital Park. We collaborated with Glintz on specific curriculum delivery. Maybe Glintz will explain this in the next session. As Infinite Learning, we also had the privilege to set up a partnership with Apple, with the Apple Developer Academy. So basically, we started to have the components. And now that we are ready to move to the next level, that's where D-Town comes in, offering us the overall master plan concept with a vision that can go beyond 10,000 workers that we are expecting in phase 1, and really give confidence also to companies that want to move in to go to the next level. So now, our job as NDP, which will continue to be basically the growth engine of D-Town, in the same way as Digital Hub is doing in BSD in Jakarta, and Irawan will explain this relationship in his session right now. We still have a few steps to then complement properly the attractiveness of NDP within Nongsa D-Town. The first one is going to be on infrastructure. We have connectivity, but now we want to have a computer power capability. We want to have data storage. So although we live in a cloud kind of environment, we think that the data centers infrastructure will be fundamental.
It's still essential.
Yeah, and Packer Langa also mentioned this in his opening speech, that he sees favorably data center infrastructure where we are. Then education, we want to have more vocational education at high level from high reputable institutions to be available for people to come in Nongsa, not necessarily already with a job in their hands, but they can come there, learn, and basically increase their opportunities to have a great job. But we are not just thinking of people working for companies. This is very related to what also you do, guys, with Echelon. We want startups. We want more startups. We are positioning ourselves as the center for West Indonesia for startups, but also for startups that are looking for better infrastructure, more content, proximity to Singapore, which is not just because there are a lot of investors here, but I mean, thinking also of all the R&D capabilities that are available here for startups that want to collaborate with multinational companies here. So that's the kind of community that, again, I take the words of Minister Chan Chun Sing just now, want to come to Nongsa to live code, design, and play.
Yeah. The software part, I must say, is an extremely important element for digital parks.
Yes.
Because there's always the part that a lot of the developers overlook. Many of the developers just build infrastructure and so people will come, but this is really, really not true.
Yep.
There's a lot of effort, and we discussed this many times with Marco on many different conversations and drinks, and just to share with you, Andrew, that building this community up, and we did some trips together with Marco to Thailand to talk about this. The community element is very, very critical, and I think the plan that Nongsa has put up in preparation of the launch really seeded a very big hinterland of demand, to join all the different programs that they have at the moment. Yeah. And I think the hardware part or the environment, the ecology part, it's very modern. I find that it appeals to many entrepreneurs that it's not just working, but also living and enjoying the environment. And well, proximity to Singapore definitely helps in many.
It's to create a kind of balance. You really need.
And I think that also from Sinarmas Group, that is part of the equation with Nongsa Digital Park and Infinite Studios, we have some DNA in building these communities, because our chairman, Patrice Vilwan, set up a few decades ago another industrial park in Batam, and they was able to create the ecosystem. And let's not forget that creating an ecosystem means also relationship with the local community.
Yes.
So charitable activities, connecting with the local community is very important. And as Sinarmas Group has done in Kabil Industrial Estate, in Nongsa Digital Park, more extensively in D-Town, we want to connect with the communities neighboring us and have activities that will also benefit the communities. And they want the communities to enjoy the facilities that we're putting together there.
That's why the design content is very important to make this really work.
I think we answer both the hardware and software part. But one question I would think a lot of the audience might have is, in light of this pandemic, right? Maybe this question back to Marco.
Sure.
What are some of the safety steps that NDP has put in place, to take care of the safety aspect of the entire working and living arrangement in D-Town?
Well, a bit like New York, NDP never sleeps, Nongsa never sleeps. So apart a few initial weeks when the pandemic started, we immediately took the best practices that we were seeing around the world and translated them in standard operating procedures to managing social distancing, monitoring of movement of people in Nongsa, so that within NDP we didn't have any cases reported of COVID, very stringent management. And I'm not saying this as a promotional speech, because as we speak now, we have international movie production that has been going on since last November in our studios in NDP. We manage the international actors and talents coming in. Right after this one, we have another important international movie production going on. So this is testament of the capabilities that we have also in governing the area and make sure that is a safe area for everybody to work and live.
Okay, noted on that. Let's start to engage our third guest here, everyone. Before we engage everyone for this panel, I think we would like to share a video before we can discuss more on the development of D-Town.
Sinarmas Land prioritizes developments that strengthen digital economy in welcoming industrial era 4.0. BSD City is the perfect hub for creative industry players, since we provide complete facilities and infrastructures to support all their needs. Through BSD City Digital Hub project, we have developed and are still developing a collaborative ecosystem for startups, tech companies, and creative industries. Located at the heart of BSD City, covering an area of 26 hectares, Digital Hub is the house for IT school with global standard, production houses, startups such as e-commerce and marketplace, co-working spaces, unicorns, and multinational tech companies. All of them collaborate and synergize here. The success of Digital Hub at BSD City becomes a trigger for us to implement in the same concept in other areas, to build a collaborative hub for tech and creative startups and companies, all with the objective to support digital economy that becomes increasingly relevant for national development. This is the potential that ignited Sinarmas Land to collaborate with Sinarmas Group another respected and experienced developer to develop Nongsa D-Town as a digital bridge connecting Indonesia and Singapore. With a total area of 62 hectares, Nongsa D-Town has the infrastructure, facilities, and the ecosystems that will become a magnet for digital technology communities regionally and also globally.
Let's pose our first question to Irawan. What are some of the important aspects for Digital Town to be successful as a hub for startups, tech companies, and creative industry? Especially since for yourself, you have done the entire development for Digital Hub, which is a great success. Can you share with us how do we translate that success into D-Town?
Well, the first one is the ones of the tech workplaces translate to master planning principles.
Yeah.
The elements are diversity. By embracing the differences, we can spark innovation, better understanding, and serve our customers and gain competitive advantage. Interaction. In Digital Hub, the mission is to create an environment to foster social interaction, collaboration, and a sense of community. Reliable connectivity. It's a must, which we treated as a utility. Mobility. Convenient choices of transportation. Healthy environment. Fresh air. During this pandemic and after pandemic COVID-19, I believe people want to be more healthy. And camaraderie is it's a spirit, a group like minded people to create a fluid atmosphere and get a creative and young ecosystem together. All these elements increase productivity of the people. Second one is the ecosystem support. How the startups, after they join to our ecosystem, they can survive, stable, and be sustained. That means we have to provide incentive. Incentive can be different between one to another. I think those two are the most important aspects of an area. That's why some multinational tech company and an Indonesian unicorn decided to move to BSD as we provide those elements.
Yeah, so I actually been to BSD city a while back to really visit to understand the differences between BSDC and D-Town. That time I wasn't aware that you guys are actually working together. It's an amazing city. Yes, a lot of different aspects of lifestyle as well, plus work. And of course, Apple Academy is there as well. So as a follow-up question with Irawan, right, I wanted to know, and this be the question that I have since I found out that you guys are actually working together. Like, how do you foresee both D-Town and Digital Hub working together? What are some of the values that can cross over from BSD City Digital Hub over to D-Town, for example?
Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so these are, as you can see, these are some digital ecosystem that has established in Digital Hub BSD City. From the talent development, we have Apple iOS Developer Academy, AWS Academy, Binar Academy. Binar Academy is founded by former VP of the first Indonesia unicorn Gojek, and some other local IT schools that can support the needs of talent for Industry 4.0. Some co-working space players, e-commerce, marketplace, animation studio, sport training center, big enterprises has taken part of our digital ecosystem. So I think this ecosystem can be mirrored one to another as the needs is there to the town.
Okay. The panelists, do you want to join any discussion with that? So what Irawan has shared is all the companies that have been currently in Digital Hub. Irawan, would these companies be interested to kind of set up a team in Nongsa D-Town?
We have some discussion with these companies to move to D-Town. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. That's good to know that some of the bigger companies are also taking interest in Nongsa D-Town because
and
of
also,
different. Obviously,
I want to add something.
Yeah, different factors, but also possibly a contingent factor. It might be possible that a future reopening of the borders will be gradual, and maybe places closer to Singapore, like Batam, might have a chance to reopen first. So you might see companies first replanting or planting themselves there, and then go back to expand in other parts of Indonesia.
I don't think Nongsa D-Town, because you guys have your own jetty, it is a kind of like an ecosystem on its own in that sense. Very good ability to control in and out traffic.
We can be a bubble if we want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully that becomes one of the key roles as well for D-Town. Well, we ended all the discussion points of the panel, so we're going to open up the floor for some questions. So from the floor, we already have a couple of questions here. Maybe I'll ask Marco for the first question.
Sure.
I think people wanted to know how many startups, tech companies, developers are you guys looking to bring on board for this year? And the follow-up question is, how does NEP in the next few months plan to promote high-value networking and collaboration among its tenants? Because there's limited face-to-face interaction,
yes,
and the community element is nonetheless, as we described earlier, important.
So with all the various stakeholders involved in our project, barring further deterioration of the COVID situation, and actually hoping in an accelerated vaccination program, because that's the only base that will allow to go back to some kind of better new normal. Our expectations were of crossing the 2,000 people mark at minimum by the end of this year. How many of them are going to be composed by talent that works with multinational companies as opposed to startups? I think the majority at the moment are still in the first category.
Okay.
But of course, we are working to implement more attractions for the startups. And then the second question was, sorry?
How does D-Town actually aims to encourage networking, face-to-face networking?
Okay.
Because the community, I think people wanted to know the community element, right? They want to just work in the office. They see the point of interaction with, especially for Singaporeans, they would love to interact with the Indonesians that's working there. They want to know about the local market status.
Yeah, I think that's where the town comes into place with the so the first joint development that we have done was the second slate of office blocks that are in Nongsa Digital Park. But now we're looking at a place near the entrance of Nongsa Digital Park where there should be commercial activities and some kind of a smaller plaza before we move to the bigger plaza at the ferry terminal. So that's where in a new normal, properly distanced and safe physical interaction can happen. Prior to that, we were leveraging on existing infrastructure at our studios because we had a bar and a restaurant, a cafe where people congregate there, but we will need more of this. And then we will have, again, in the new normal, more speakers coming, personalities coming, and we have facilities that then we can accommodate audience for this kind of events. But I think first we need some vaccines going on.
A follow-up question as well. What are some of the? Are you able to elaborate a bit of offerings to startup companies that is keen to take up some space there? And especially if we compare this to other innovation hubs. So what are some unique values basically?
So I think, as I said, we have already an incubator program done by Arceto of Base, which has been quite successful with the local startup community. We wanted to bring in an accelerator program. I am more inclined to a less agnostic one and more focused, and I really like and I have already conversations going on for agri-food, agri-tech sector, where startups initially from other parts of Indonesia can have a satellite or set up completely in Singapore, in Nongsa, and then benefit of the proximity to Singapore, because Singapore is pushing so much for this sector. But I think to try to grow only with the startups that are here in Singapore is a bit difficult. And then you have a huge market like Indonesia, with huge agri-food, aquaculture potential. So that's where the proximity with Singapore will go in favor of these Indonesian startups that would choose Nongsa.
I remember the previously you told me about the special economic zones and all that. Is there any business value to non-Indonesian companies to set up there as well under that zone?
Okay. On the special economic zone, the coordinating minister of economic activities last year proposed for the consideration of President Jokowi, our place as a special economic zone. Definitely there will be great benefits, especially for international companies. We will be able to disclose and discuss these benefits as soon, hopefully, President Jokowi will sign the decree.
Okay, okay, noted on that. How about a question for Andrew on the development of with Irawan as well? I think people just want to know when is the estimated completion date of the entire phase 1 of D-Town.
The entire D-Town is a 10 years project.
Yeah.
But we have already embarked on phase 1.
Yeah.
The target completion for phase 1 will be 2023.
2023.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we will continue with the rest of the phases.
Correct.
And that's when we would like to see, hopefully, again, barring worsening of the pandemic, an approximate overall population of around 10,000 people.
Okay.
And that I think will create a very good next level to build upon for further expansion.
Okay, okay, okay. I think these are all the questions we have. Is there any last comment from the panelists? Maybe for Andrew or Marco? Andrew?
Well, I would just say that this is really a very interesting and exciting project from the architect's standpoint, you know.
Yeah.
And we have a very good bilateral collaborations between us and the client.
Yeah.
And what we really appreciate is really the client gave us a space to design, to create. And in the meanwhile, allow us to fulfill our design visions. But because of the close communications, we are also able to coalesce with the client's development vision as well.
Yeah.
So that make it a very unique experience.
I must say it's an interesting space that we don't see a lot in Singapore, where you have beachside, Marco, last comments?
Well, from our side, again, I'm very thankful for the support of Sinarmas Group, the vision, incredible vision of our chairman, Pak Chris, the support of the two governments, the fantastic relationship we have with Sinarmas Land in building up Nongsa D-Town, but overall, the pride of being denominated the digital bridge that connects between Indonesia and Singapore, as the panel over there says. We're incredibly proud of that. And we have a lot of passion to keep that going. I think any stakeholder, being them service providers, clients, tenants, visitors. I think everybody feels the energy and the passion that we have in Nongsa. We're really passionate about what we do, and I think this, on the long term, is going to make a huge difference.
Thanks, Marco. Any last comment from Mr. Irawan?
Yeah, as we all know, Indonesia is a huge potential market, so we're going to come to Indonesia. And we will provide the support for the startups in terms of setting up the business, incentive to have an office space, or connect to local government if needed, access to funding. And we hope Digital Hub and D-Town will be used as a test bed for their innovations and do continuous research.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Irawan. Wonderful. Thanks for the session, guys.
Thank you, Thaddeus.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Christine?
Thank you.